Get Spiritual. I'm your host, Annie, and I'm here with my bestie, Ashley, and we'd love for you to join us as we discuss all aspects of spirituality and wellness. So sit back, take a breath, and let's get spiritual. Welcome back, everyone. It's Annie and it's Ashley.
Hey, guys.
So we've been going through some fun stuff, and I feel like we just got to truck along with some more topics where we can learn some stuff about. And something that's very popular in the spiritual community is smudging.
I'm excited. I could use a smudge. This day it was like a good day, but also this week has been slightly garbage, maybe because Mercury retrograde is ending.
It's about to end, so it's like, I feel like that happens often.
Into like garbage, and a good smudging is actually...
Yeah. We're going to do a demonstration in a little bit too of how to properly light the smudge sticks and everything. So we're going to get into it.
We're getting into
it. We're getting spiritual. Yes. Here we go. So for centuries, indigenous tribes and native cultures in many parts of the world have burned sage as part of their spiritual ceremonies to cleanse and purify, ward off evil spirits, promote healing, encourage positive energy, and for just general spiritual and aura cleansing. So this has been around for a very long time. And one thing I want to just put out as disclaimer right away is a lot of the spiritual trends, we have to remember that these traditions are rooted in ancestral rituals.
These are old.
We need to not be like, oh my God, I'm going to smudge because the energy just feels off. It's not like that. We're cleansing our energy and our space.
I just said that at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
So I'm going to smudge. The vibe has been horrible.
But it is that. But I feel like people just buy it and use it without knowing.
Without really understanding what it is, why it even exists, what it's used for. It's not just a thing that you wave around in the air.
No, there has to be intent behind it, and it has to come from a high level of integrity with anything that you do down the spiritual path. It needs to come from a really honest, conscious place. Ultimately. Oh, hey, yes, this is just how it's going to go. But it is jokes on us.
It is.
So even within these native cultures, there's different types of herbs that they use for varying purposes. But sage and Palo Santo are the most common. Both white sage and Palo Santo are both spiritual tools and have been used for centuries by shamans and medicine people of indigenous cultures. So again, there's so many ways we can disrespect these practices. So being very mindful of their origin and their true purpose is what's critical in practicing these in our own lives.
You got to have respect, especially if you want it to actually work in your favor.
And you need to know that where you're getting these items from are sourced in a honest way too. Yeah. There's a lot of people cutting down these Palo Santo trees and doing things like that aren't really ethical and just selling it because it's popular right now. And that's
they're capitalizing on the greed of it. And that's definitely not a good way to start something that's supposed to bring good intention.
And there's also over harvesting. There's a lot of things happening or illegally harvested. People are taking them from nature preserves and protected land just to make a buck off of it. So really just know where you're getting your stuff from. Mm-hmm. Just do your research and make sure you're not just buying something off of, being illegally harvested. No one wants, you're not really going to do a whole lot of work with getting rid of it, bad energy if you're getting some illegally harvested materials.
Or just inauthentic shit.
Yeah, using that stuff defeats the purpose of the medicinal purposes and the entire purpose. Where you buy your sacred supplies matters.
Yeah.
So
you want to be burning some Palo Santo that's really just a piece of kindling from some weird old man's backyard.
Exactly. Or from preserved land. That's not okay. So both Palo Santo and white sage are very similar to each other since they both are designed to cleanse the energy in you or your space around you. And they both encourage a more positive and peaceful environment in general. So again, we always have to come from a place of gratitude for the plants itself too, and Mother Earth for creating these herbs and, medicines that help us in our energy and our bodies. So a little bit about sage. It's made up
of... I have a question.
Yeah.
maybe you'll touch on this later, and I'm just making you go off your notes. I'm sorry, but isn't there like a pattern which you're supposed to burn it, like sage first and then Palo Santo?
You
or something
can.
Like that?
So because they each have different purposes, you can burn them for different reasons. And I kind of will highlight that. I know you and I have done that where you kind of clear the space first with the white sage, and then you enter your intention and then light the Palo Santo. So there is many different ways you can utilize. I don't know if
that was
like
an us thing, just being our little spiritual self.
It is something that's practiced, but it's not something that's like widespread. So, so back to sage, it's made up of the sage plant's leaves and has a stronger, more plant-like flowery smell. Like last time when you came in here, you're like, did you?
Yeah, I could totally tell. And sometimes it smells bad to me, and I'm like, oh, am I the problem?
That could be true if that's the case. And maybe it's just that day.
Maybe it doesn't always happen. That's why I'm like, oh, this was needed.
So it's out of all the sages, the most commonly used is white sage. There's a blue sage, I think black sage too. So there's different varieties. I always
buy white sage.
Yeah.
And sometimes sage with some like bougie stuff.
Yeah, like lavender.
Like
you can also add other.
Yes. LV.com and you can see what I'm talking about.
Yep, the Hidden Gem LV.com to my shop where I get ethically sourced sage bundles and Palo Santo sticks from very good vendors. So
nice.
Yeah. So sage is primarily used to clear out all the energy, especially toxic, but like all the energy basically gets cleansed and removed, positive or negative, when you sage. So it's really good to do it if you're doing like seasonal cleaning, if you just have a heaviness in your area.
I use it for my tarot when I want to clear them out. It's like a eraser on a chalkboard. Yeah. You're just taking it all off.
Yep. I cleanse my crystals with sage sometimes too. I talked about it in the crystals episode, different ways to do that. If you're kind of going through a breakup or recently divorced, it's really good, especially if someone's moved out, to just hit that reset button. It kind of is what that does. It hits
really
the
is to reset the energy in an area, in you.
Yep. If you're fighting with your spouse or significant other, if you have like bad tenants or a bad day at work, someone is sick, like all these things can benefit from a good smudging.
Yeah. Well, doesn't sage have antimicrobial benefits?
Yeah, so it is antimicrobial. So the smoke in the air actually kills the bacteria. It actually helps keep away bugs and stuff too. So there's so many benefits.
Lit 24/7.
Yeah. So some of the benefits is removing bacteria from the air, repelling insects, improving our intuition, purifying and cleansing specific objects, ourselves, and the room. And it improves mood and reduces stress and anxiety, promotes healing, can help treat digestive issues, memory problems, sore throats, or respiratory issues. I've smudged myself when I was like, over like the holidays when you get like a little tickle or like the seasonal sniffles. Yeah. I'm just like,
I never even thought of that.
Yeah. So there is a downside to this. If you have any spirits or positive energy that you want to keep around, the sage also clears that out. So you are able to invite that back in. Always just be mindful before you use it in that kind of way.
Also, don't be just inviting in anything. Yeah. Be specific.
Yes. Anytime you speak to the universe or anything, you want to be very clear and specific with your intention.
Are we going to do an episode about ghosts?
Yeah, we will.
Okay.
Because, it's...
Well... I didn't even notice that was popped up, but yeah.
Yes, we're going to do a ghost episode. Spirits. So when you're done burning sage, it's always good to reintroduce positive energy because it's been wiped totally clean, which is why Palo Santo is a good way to reintroduce that positive energy. Yeah. So I personally like to sage and smudge myself before meditating or before I take a client in my therapy sessions. And that's because I'm hitting the reset button. Like I just want this moment to be totally cleared out. And then I always set an intention before my sessions or before my meditation, or just like, sometimes I'm like in the meditation. Sometimes it's just like sitting there for a few minutes, just taking a few breaths, being mindful. So it's a really good way to, again, just clear out the energy. I like to sage in the morning sometimes, or sometimes before bed, and get the whole day off of you. Yeah. There's a lot of different ways.
And I feel like a lot of the things that we've talked about with like doing, something positive to like really start to get into the groove of things.
Yeah.
I'll do it in the morning and do it at night.
Exactly.
Like I just feel like every time something is brought up and we're like, oh, I do it in the morning. Well, sometimes at night too. It's just
both.
a really
Why not
good
both?
way. Yeah. It's a good way to get started. Get all that crust off of you. Get a little heavy in the beginning.
Yeah. Some other ways you can reintroduce like positive energy once you've wiped all the energy clean is by putting positive music on, a dance meditation. You can set intentions, essential oils, diffusing them, add that to the air, crystals, sing to your plants. Like there's a lot of happy, positive things that you can do after smudging to put the tone high and great. So we went over some of the benefits of burning sage. There are a lot of them.
Yeah, you did a lot on the notes, girl.
I did, because there's so many benefits. I mean, Mother Earth provided us with plants and crystals and so many things that we can make stuff with and really benefit us.
Well, and I think that a lot of, can I do a shout out and a plug for someone?
Yes, go.
I would like to plug Matthew, come on.
Yes.
He's like horrible employee. I can't even say his last name right. He's the Lehigh Valley Medium. But he sells sage and stuff at his shows.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that just don't know anything about it, how to use it. Like there's a woman that literally bought some just because we said it's a great thing to have. And she's like, okay. And we're like, do you know anything about it?
Well, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this episode, because even through having my shop, people are like, what do I do and how do I do this?
I want it, but now what?
Yeah. I always put a intention card or like a prayer card with my sage bundles that I sell and any of the like burning tools that I sell, because again, you want to say a positive affirmation and set a tone every time you do that.
You want people to use it correctly.
Yeah.
Is really what it comes down to.
And it's really about creating a ritual for yourself. Again, if you want to do it in the morning or at night or both, get into a habit of creating these rituals for yourself so that you can really clear your mind out and really kind of work through the emotions and process your day so that it doesn't carry over into the next, and you can really recharge yourself and your energy. And again, like I clear my space after every session and before every session. I smudge my meditation space and my service space because people's energy lingers.
Right.
I'm reading it. We have both of the energies in there. So it's a really good thing to do in between each of them. So another way to say some of the intentions again is with the prayers. You can also just say like, I don't allow any negative energy into this space at all. That's kind of what the prayer card says that I have. Like, into the smoke, I release all the energy that does not serve me. I release all fears that limit me, and I release all negativity that surrounds me. And so it is. Yeah. And that's just something nice. I know. It's just, get away from me and ain't touching me here, because I'm about to get chill and meditate. And it's really good to just build those rituals for yourself. Do you have any that you kind of do, or when you sage?
I'm not good at practicing what I'm preaching. I mean, you're the one that's preaching right now, and I'm listening. Like, I should set rituals for myself more often, because I feel like I tend to use sage when I'm like feeling like trash. Like the energy feels off, and I'm like, I'm just going to use it. Where it would be nice to have that ritual where I do it more often.
And more with like a bit more intent.
Definitely with more intention. But I will say it does always make me feel better. Even though I don't do it as much as I should or like or would like, when I do,
it's great. It is amazing. So next we're going to move on to the Palo Santo side of things. So how I said sage clears energy, Palo Santo brings back good energy. And Palo Santo is actually Bursera graveolens. I cannot with that one. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But yes, it's a tree that's native to Peru, Ecuador, and other South American countries. It grows in dry tropical forests and produces a very fragrant resin. So in Spanish, Palo Santo means holy wood. So this is sacred.
I do think
wood.
that Palo Santo smells better.
I do too. I kind of like Palo Santo as more masculine. Like if dudes want to get into
musky
this
smell, I do.
It's
that's
piney,
why I like it.
maybe.
Like it smells like a man. Yes.
Yeah, it's really great because it does have that very piney, woodsy smell to it, and it has more of a masculine. I definitely think that white sage and lavender have more of a feminine type of scent to them, but Palo Santo.
Unless you're me and you're having a bad day and then it just stinks.
Yeah,
you're like, oh, man.
True. So the wood, the resin, and the oils extracted from the wood have been used for medicinal purposes. It also helps to clear negative energy and also to help treat pain like headaches, arthritis due to the anti-inflammatory properties that it has, throat pain, and it helps relieve stress and anxiety as well. And again, can repel mosquitoes, deter ants, termites, and flies. So burning any of these in your home is also just going to help your home.
Like on how many levels will this help the vibe of where you live?
Yeah.
You're just
even if you're burning it like, I hate bugs. Getting rid of the bugs. I hate bugs. Yeah. That's a great intention to start with. There you go. Yes.
Thank God I remembered where that button was. Yeah. Doesn't stop now.
Yeah. So something to be aware of when working with Palo Santo is that all wood releases smoke compounds that can cause significant harm if you inhale it at high exposures over a long period of time or in a very small space with not a lot of airflow. I've wondered that
sometimes because I'll be in my moment lighting my stuff and it's just in my face and I'm like, it's cleaning out the bad stuff. It's fine.
It's okay and in a little bit of that because I definitely, when I'm burning sage, I waft it into my space so that I can inhale it. I think the wood's a little bit denser.
Yeah, most definitely.
And that has heavier oils in it that can do damage to your lungs and stuff especially it has to be high exposure over a long period of time.
Right. So the times where stuff feels heavy and I'm like, let's light it. I'm fine. Yeah.
So always just be mindful of how much smoke is emanating around you. It should not be too much. Don't, just be careful. Obviously, we're lighting things here. You want to take a lot of precautions.
There's a fire that's going to have to be used to light this bad boy. Yes. So let's not light anything on fire.
Don't be burning nothing if you're under the influence of any substance. And always be careful when you work with fire or flames in general.
Yeah, don't leave it unattended.
No.
Yeah. Be smart.
So, we're going to do a little tutorial now on how to burn some of these. I'm excited. So we're going to start.
For the other people in the building. I hope they don't get freaked out.
They're probably used to it. This is my smudge bottle that I use during my practice. And they have to be used to it here by now because I burn again before every session. So you can use a lighter, but traditions kind of call for
old school.
Yeah, I'm going to try to do it. Traditions call for using a match or if you already have a fire lit, using that kind of flame.
Well, let's not also go against the fire rule or warning we just did.
I know. Thank you.
Okay.
So here, I'm going to go ahead and light it. So when you light a sage, you want to always tilt it to one side and kind of just hold the flame on one specific area for a little while so that you get a nice kind of burn. So I'm just going to let that go for a little bit longer. If you guys are listening to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anywhere, you can also watch us on Spotify or on YouTube. So do that. So you see I have a nice smoke coming off of here. Very, very nice. This already makes me feel better.
I know. I was also thinking how differently you and I light our sages.
You light yours at the top?
I go all over that thing. I'm like, no wonder I'm choking on the freaking smoke thinking it
doesn't need a whole lot to really get going. So you kind of just waft around, let it go. Some people like to use a feather. Mm-hmm. You can also use an abalone shell to hold the ashes. You should use either a shell like this or
a real seashell. I did that.
Yeah, a real seashell or like a glass ashtray or something to hold it and catch the ashes while it's burning, and something that won't also burn while it's holding it.
Again,
which is
fire warning.
Yes. So the same thing with Palo Santo, but this one I'm going to cheat and use a lighter with because Palo Santo and wood in general is just hard to light and get lit. And a lot of people struggle with Palo Santo because it doesn't stay lit very long.
No.
So again, you take your flame source and hold it against one of the sides. I hold it for at least 10 to 15 seconds so that it really
kind of gets started.
Gets hot, yeah. And then if there is a flame, I let the flame kind of chill for a second. So I can already see it's about to smoke, and there it goes. These are really good to, again, just waft it around. I know, it's so nice. I really like it too. If you're walking around your house, I love to do this seasonally, again, because it just sets the tone. If you're switching out your closets or doing your spring cleaning, it's really cool to just go around the whole house, open your windows, and just
I was just going to say that.
in.
I've heard you should open your windows,
Yeah.
especially if you're trying to chase out anything.
Yes.
Because obviously you need to give it a place to go.
I've had some of my clients reach out to me and say, oh my gosh, Annie, I woke up in the middle of the night and there was someone standing at the end of my bed who was not a human.
Oh my God.
So, and we have a friend that we're gonna
try to
maybe,
help out.
come and cleanse the space. There's a lot of people who've had paranormal experiences, especially during the witching hours of like 1 a.m. to 5 a.m.
3 o'clock is when it really goes down.
Well, and that's
3, but yeah,
yeah, that's like the most active
hour.
time. Yes. Yeah. So if that's the case, getting a sage bundle and lighting it before bed, walking around your bed in your room at your door, at the whole door, and say nothing can enter this space.
Mm-hmm. And you can look things up online. I mean, obviously you're looking things up online, so be careful, but there's definitely, different things that you can say. And because sometimes it's hard to really know what to say, especially if you're new to this.
Yeah.
Like you and I are kind of old pros at it.
Yeah.
So, and
it
when
comes
I
naturally
talk to Spirit,
to us
I'm
too.
my little ratchet self. So it's just used to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely ways that you can get assistance and kind of figure out what to say to, especially in situations where you're waking up and someone's at the end of your bed. Like,
Yeah.
you definitely want to make sure you're asking for some serious protection on
Yes,
that one.
yes.
So you definitely want to.
And sometimes the
know what
crystals
you're saying.
and the sage help with stuff like that, but it's not always enough tools in the tool belt to
Exactly.
kind of prevent any of that. Another thing to be mindful of is when you do light sage, you don't ever want to put it out with water. You should always dab it onto the ashtray, or just kind of like ours already just went out.
Putting it in anywhere near water. Like I smudge it out like a cigarette kind of.
I don't know that people.
No, someone did it if you
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
I came up on research, so that means it's been done.
And more than once. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's always best to just dab it out onto the ashtray. The Palo Santo gets a little tricky though, because sometimes in here it doesn't look like it's lit and there may not be smoke coming from it, but there's embers inside here burning. So you always really just want to be careful when you burn this stuff, guys. And as always, don't ever leave it unattended while burning. Most important.
My gosh,
Definitely cannot do that. So, well, I hope you all enjoy that, and I hope you all
That was a lot. You were very informative on this one.
Okay, good. Well, yeah, I like our episodes because some are informative and some are more like soul lesson type topics. So I kind of like switching back and forth because
the listeners will realize that, I think, once you start to get into it.
And
if
there's
you're
so
just
many things.
listening to us, this is episode
13.
So definitely go back and start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Start from the basics and work your way up to us.
Things just make more sense if you've come along with us along the journey.
But no, I like our little flow.
I agree.
Definitely learn things when you do these because, like, guys, Annie, bravo to where's the button? Because literally you set up everything. I just show up and I'm like, what are we talking about today?
Well, I want the approach for that for these episodes. I want to deliver the information and I want your reaction and your
I feel
questions.
like I'm like the listener. Like,
yeah, exactly. You do represent the masses of our listeners. So, so now it's time for tarot and I'm really excited.
Can we side note pause?
Yeah.
How did you feel about the Bumblebee tarot reading?
Oh, girl, I know. Well, first off, backtrack. Ashley does tarot. We talked about it in our tarot episode, but she does tarot readings for like Facebook groups.
Yes.
And every now and then.
It's not at, but a positive place on Facebook.
Yes. So on there, she did a June reading where it was just the energy for the month. And she did 3 piles of cards, and each pile of cards.
I did it a little different this time.
Yeah, I liked it. She had one oracle card and 2 tarot cards for each of the readings. And then she had a little butterfly, a little ladybug, and a little bumblebee.
And when I picked the bee, I was like, Annie's going to pick this one. Yeah, that happened again. When did that happen?
It was another one. Yeah.
I don't know where I had a thought. It's actually happened to me a couple times this week where I had a thought and like the thing happened.
Yes.
So as soon as I picked that bee, I was like, I know she doesn't like them, but she shocked me in that one episode. So she's going to pick this little bee.
Yeah. I actually thought about that. I'm like, Ashley's going to laugh because I like bees now.
Yeah. And you picked it.
I did.
I love doing those because I'll do the cards right away and I do the interpretation and then I hold on to it and make you all wait and suffer just a little bit. And I love seeing, especially when certain people pick stuff because I'm like, oh my God, like this definitely
lines
has to do
up
with your life.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for you to know this secret that I'm going to unleash on you.
That is amazing.
And yeah, as soon as I put that I was like, she's going to pick this one. And this is
I was torn.
On point.
I had to look back because sometimes if I can't pick it, I have to like look away and I have to look back again because when it comes to tarot, and when you're talking to the universe like this or trying to get a message from spirit, you have to go with not your mind, but your like subconscious.
Your gut. Like the first thing that pops in your head is the thing you
So if I look at something and nothing's pulling at me, I have to walk away and come back to it and see if anything changes. I'm like, oh, that little bee just looks so cute.
It did look so cute and plump. And I was like, I just want to pinch you.
That's why I was like, this is the one. This is the one for me. So I'm glad that reading came out really well. I hope this reading comes out for other people.
I know.
All right, guys. So while Ashley shuffles those cards, we're going to take some deep, mindful breaths in and out through your nose, 3 counts in and 3 counts out, starting now. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, and exhale, 1, 2, 3. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Let it all out.
I feel like we had this reading already.
Repeat reading.
Like I'm feeling the same vibe on it.
I think we've had those cards, but maybe
we
not
definitely
together.
had the cards before, but I feel like I've said this about the 2 of Cups. So we have the 2 of Cups, which came out first, and the Page of Pentacles. And a lot of times when people see the 2 of Cups, and I get it, it's like a couple, they're all like, here, have my cup, whatever. They're being all cute. But this can also be your higher self and your physical self. So for me, I feel like this is, especially because it's with the Page of Pentacles, it does feel more like it's a partnership and not like a romantic thing. Because to me, the page indicates money.
Yeah.
But the page can also indicate abundance. So let's just say I feel like the reading definitely has to do with some sort of partnership happening for someone. It could be romantic. It could be business. Again, I'm feeling more business, but that's also just because of how I interpret the Page of Pentacles, which Pentacles to me just means money.
Yeah.
However, I just had a thought, so I should probably say it. And that, again, sometimes it can be abundance. So if it is for a romantic relationship, I do feel that regardless of what this is, this ship, we'll say, it will turn out well for you.
Good.
Yeah. That's really all I have to say about that.
I love it.
A nice little positive vibe.
Yes. Well, thank you all for listening. I hope you all go smudge yourselves and stay spiritual.
Yes. And have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.